Hi, I'm Pat Horn, the STEM coordinator here at the Lakeshore Museum Center, and I want to welcome you and thank you for joining us tonight for our virtual Invention Night. So, unfortunately, due to the rising cases of COVID, we made the decision to make this a virtual event, but we still want to bring you all the information and content that you would have gotten had you been able to come to the museum here tonight. Joining me behind the camera there is Jackie, so she'll be monitoring our chat. So if you do have any questions as I'm talking about various things tonight, feel free to type it in the comments and Jackie will let me know what those questions are. Now, we're going to go for about maybe 10 to 15 minutes here, and I'm going to be covering a few different things. One of the really important things I want to cover is a new program that is starting here in Muskegon County called Invention Convention. So this program has been run in the state of Michigan for many years, but this year is the first year that we're going to bring it here to the western side of the state, and we're starting it right here with Muskegon County. So I've been leading a group of different county organizations to get this program started. And one of the things we really wanted to do was to talk to you about Invention Convention and hopefully get you interested in wanting to sign up for it. So what it is exactly is a program for students in 3rd through 12th grade, and it teaches about innovation, invention. It goes through a lot of the different steps that inventors go through. And it can be something that can be done in a classroom setting. So if you're a teacher watching this, you can do this with your entire class really easily. If you're a parent, you can do this with your kids at home. If you run a group or an organization, you can also do it with that. So it's really flexible. It's pretty easy. It's an entirely free program, and it comes with a curriculum based on grade level. So it really kind of walks you step through step. But what students do in the program is they will end up creating a real-life invention, something that is going to help them out in their daily lives or help out their family or friends. And part of this process is keeping a logbook and doing research on things like patents. You learn about the different steps that you go through if you want to apply for a patent. You make a prototype of your object, so it doesn't have to be a working thing, but something that you can show off and talk about its features with. And you keep a logbook throughout this entire process, and it can be done with groups or individuals. So, like I said, it's a really flexible program, and it's really neat. And what we're starting here is a region in this. The winners would qualify to the state competition and then to a national competition potentially as well. And it comes with really cool awards. You can actually get patents, you can get scholarship money, and of course recognition as well. So a really neat program, and we'll have some different links tied into this. If you saw our intro video before I got started here, you would see some of those links at the bottom of it. The other thing though we want to talk about today besides Invention Convention is we want to talk about inventing in general here in Muskegon. So one of the things that we do have available to pass out are going to be some inventing kits that we've assembled together. Things to get your brain thinking about inventing and the process that you go through and some materials that you can use. Now, in just a second, I'm going to go over some of those materials, but I do want to point out here on our board, if you are interested in learning more about that Invention Convention program, you can feel free to call the museum or email me directly, pat@lakeshoremuseum.org. And then with the kits that we're going to talk about in a second here, we're asking that you share those as well. Share your creations with us here in the museum and in the county. We're going to use the hashtag #LookWhatIMade. So watt there being a scientific measurement for power or energy. So we're going to come over here, and what I've got laid out here are a few different things. So first of all, one of the bags that we have for students to take home is this one right here, and this is a kit with instructions to assemble a car. So it's got one way you can do it, but there are multiple different ways that you can assemble a car with this, but this is something just kind of get you started. The other thing that you can get, though, is another bag that's going to come with the parts that you see in front of me here. And there's also parts, of course, that you can have at home that you can use when you're doing your creations and inventions as well. And the really neat thing about this kit here of parts is that all these different things work together in various ways. So there's lots of possibilities for creation. So I want to talk about some of the things that you'll see in these kits. You're going to find things that are pretty basic, like bolts, nuts. We do have things like gears, though, so you can build something that would connect gears together. There are pulleys. You're going to get string as well, so you could set up a little miniature pulley system. We're going to have some little things like cups in there, rubber bands, some kind of basic stuff. There are also different wooden sticks and skewers. So these are really cool because they interact with a lot of the different parts. So I could put this end in here into one of the syringes, and now I've got a stick connected to my syringe that I could maybe connect to something else. There are these little black strips here too that these pieces of wood will fit into. You have to kind of jam them in there a little bit, and if you want to fit in there smoothly or maybe rotate around, you might want to take like a screwdriver and just kind of drill out the hole a little bit on the inside to make it do that. There's also things like these little clips here that will attach to these sticks, and so you can do that, and it will keep things from falling off the end or keep them in place. There's little perpendicular blocks, and I'm actually going to be building something with one of these in a bit, but the sticks do connect to those as well, and so you can have multiple angles with this. So like I said, all this stuff fits together in a lot of different ways. You know, your wheels that you're going to get with your kit can fit into these smaller sticks here, and they can rotate around freely if you want to make something that might move. There's little rubber stoppers here as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do two different builds just to show you some of the different possibilities that you can have with these kits and just kind of get your juices flowing creatively. So I'm going to start by making a tiny little catapult here. So I'm going to take one of these little kind of grids, and I'm going to find two of my sticks that are roughly the same length. So in your kit, you're going to find these are cut to a bunch of different various lengths so you can use them for different things. I'm just going to push these in here just a little bit. And then I'm going to take my bolts here, and I'm actually going to screw them in here as well. Like I said, all these pieces fit together in different ways. And so you're kind of seeing my catapult forming up already, hopefully. Make sure that's in there. So now I've got my platform, and then I'm going to take one of the rubber bands that we have here, and I'm just going to twist it around several times. That should do. I lost my leg. So now, with my rubber band connected, I've got a little tension there, and I have a little force. So I'm going to take a piece of paper. So this is one of those things that you can just find at home and grab. I'm going to pull it back in my catapult here, and we'll let it go. We'll see how it does. Oh, I don't shot straight backwards. Let's try it again. So hope you can see that flying around the screen there. So yeah, that took me all of, what, maybe a minute and a half or so to build that. And you can see I built a pretty neat little catapult. Some of the other things that you might be able to do, this is pretty fun. So I mentioned these syringes earlier. So you can use water in these and make something that would be make something that would be hydraulic, or you could also make something pneumatic using the air pressure between two different syringes. So that is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to connect this tubing that you'll get in your kit to the syringes, and then I'm going to use one of my wooden pieces that I talked about earlier, and one of these perpendicular blocks here. Okay, together, there we go. That's the way I wanted it. And so now what I've actually created is a little kicking foot here. So I'm actually going to take my same catapult, we'll make that my uprights here, and we'll see if I can kick a piece of paper through them by using my creation. Okay. And I did it, it worked. So just another example of a little creation that you can make with these kits. You're also going to find some information in them on the Invention Convention program, so spots to go to find more information about that. You also get a little business card here that talks about the program some more and how to post to our pages if you want to share your creations that you make with your kits. Now these kits, they are available for pickup here at the museum Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 to 4, and Tuesday and Thursdays from 11 to 4. We have a limited supply. We've got about 30 of these left, so if you come to the museum, you come to the front desk and you can get your car kit and also your parts kit. Finally, we've got one more thing we want to talk about. So Muskegon really has quite the history of innovation and invention. There have been lots and lots of creators here in the county, and so in our STEM Center here, we do showcase some of those different creators and inventors. So what we have up here currently is something called an innovation journey, and this one focuses on an inventor named Sherman Poppin. So if you have been by Dr. Rolf's there, the restaurant, you've seen a statue out front there of a snowboarder. That is in honor of this same inventor, Sherman Poppin. So he created something called the Snurfer, which is what you can see at the bottom here. And this is an early version of a snowboard. So he's actually credited as one of the inventors of the sport of snowboarding, and he lived right here in Muskegon County. And so this innovation journey kind of goes through some of the different steps that he had along the way in his process to create and design the Snurfers. Now, one thing that I think is really neat about this innovation journey is that it's going to show you that a lot of times you kind of get in a circle or a loop. You create something, you invent something, you try it out, and it doesn't quite work the way you want it to. And so a lot of times you need to go back and reinvent it and try to make it even better. And so you can see that in some of these innovation journeys. Now, we are actually in the process of putting up a new innovation journey, hopefully next week or so here in the STEM Center. And so we've got our graphic for it. This is an invention called the Clever Cutter. So you can see this here. And there's a few different versions of it. We've got 2 versions that we'll put on display eventually here. But this is a safety box cutter that was created by some inventors in the area to help make opening boxes safer for those involved in that process. And so you can see their innovation journey differs quite a bit from what Sherman Poppin had here. There's a lot more back and forth that they did with redesigning and creating different styles to these clever cutters. So just kind of an example, and hopefully kind of give you something to aspire to as you're messing around with your invention kits here. And then hopefully someday we'll see your innovation, your invention up here on our innovation journey. Now, what we have coming up in the next few minutes or so, we'll be posting some different videos from our outside inventors that we're going to be coming to the museum tonight that unfortunately can't now, but they are going to be sharing some different inventions that they have with them, some of their tips and tricks for it. And we're going to be starting at 6 o'clock, so about 10-15 minutes or so from now, with Chris from the Fab Lab across the street from us here at the museum. So he's going to be talking about some of the different resources they have for inventors and some of the different things that people have created. So thank you for joining us, and we'll hopefully hear from you in the future.